We have with us Dr. Neeru Prashar.
I'm not doctor yet.
You are a doctor because whoever does research is a doctor. Though if you want, I can give you a doctorate tomorrow. There are a lot of universities who offers doctorates. What is essentially required in life is to follow somebody. I loved the way she introduced herself. She's a very, very firm believer in the Shishya Parampara. I think nobody has told, including I would have never told this. Though internally I must have felt that I have not returned back what my Guru has given to me. I always felt that my Guru loved me more than what, or the way I loved him. No, I couldn't, because he was behind me and he was following me. So that makes some people to feel that, yeah, only when we lose them we understand. Similarly, mother is also like that, I think. We don't value them. Whatever mother has given, I don't think any beta or beti would have given back. Right? Only thing we will see that whether that can be given to our children. That is how we pay back. So whatever Guru has given to me, I was blessed to have Brahmashri KPC Anijan Bhattadaripada. He loved me. I lost my father when I was 4 years old. So he was almost like, or more than like my father, because I did not have that opportunity to be. So when Neeru said that, you are a disciple, I was internalizing what I would have or I should have done, and I lost chance. So how do I pay him back is what I love my students. So I'm hunting for good students in my life. It's easy to get lot of teachers in this world. I have seen there are a lot of messengers. They send messages and then they become teachers, or who would have departed 100 years back. People still consider them as Guru, where you have not even seen him, you have not even heard them directly, you only somebody read the text who follows. But that is not the Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara is you have a physical Guru who does it. It was never India's tradition to read somebody's text. Yesterday we had Kalam, the Shishya of Kalam. He wanted me to write that only. He said my description is disciple of Kalam. That's it. And it seems Kalam himself told him once that many people say that I said this, but it's not mine. I remember when Gulf Radio wanted me to speak on Kalam, they gave a quote. Immediately I reacted telling this is not from Kalam, this is from Vivekananda. So we misquote. That is because we hearsay is what we learn. We don't go deep into that. We don't even understand. But if somebody can reframe it, paraphrase it differently and then speak, wherever you learn, it doesn't matter. Don't use the same sentence. They are the people who are reflecting on what probably the traditions have given. They are the people who need to be followed. But then you also should tell that where is your root. We have lot of famous people. I don't even call them as gurus, or famous people who say that they are gurus. They themselves declare themselves as guru. But they don't tell which tradition they come from. They will not even declare I learned this from so and so person, because they wanted to say that like Swayambhu Guru. But there is no word called Swayambhu Guru in this world. So in that era, somebody like Neeru says that, yeah, I belong to that parampara. I was so glad. What I want to know is, how did you get into that sort of a thought? Maybe with a brief from where are you coming from, your family background, how did you land up in Canada, and all that. Maybe a brief so that we all know you. It's like satsang, it is not a prabhashan, it's not a discussion, it's not an interview, it's only some concern about what India needs.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So thank you so much for having me today, Dr. DPS ji. I was born in Mumbai. I mean, because my dad was posted there. He served Indian Navy for 35 years. So that's how I was born in Mumbai. But originally we are from Himachal Pradesh. And I traveled to different parts of India with my dad because of his work nature. So we moved to Cochin or Trivandrum, Visakhapatnam, and even Assam when I was one. So that's how I got in touch with different tradition and cultures of India, and I really admire them. I have so much love for them, and I always say in a very casual way that, you know, even though I'm a North Indian, but by heart I'm still a South Indian because I associate myself with that culture so much. So, and in 2008 I got married and I moved to Canada in 2009. And since childhood, my mother had a very strong influence on me. She used to read, you know, Bhagavad Gita or different texts to me. You know, often tell me what she's reading, and that's how I got in touch with so many different scriptures. And I had a strong influence of Satya Sai Baba on me because since childhood I'm attending bhajans and I am, studying what he has taught. And even I have met him and got blessed from him. So then when I moved to Canada, for a few years I was thinking, why am I here, you know, because I was such a strong, I was a very patriotic person. I was a very strong Indian who never wanted to leave India. But then after few years, I realized that this is my Karam Bhumi. I'm supposed to be here. And when I moved to Edmonton, that faith, that belief got really firm when I met Swami Brahmanishtananda Saraswati. See, since childhood, I wanted to learn Shastras, and you know, whenever I visited temple with my mom, there were like a group of kids who were studying in Gurukula. So that always attracted me. And I always wanted to be a boy at that time because I wanted to go there and study in that Gurukula. You know, because girls were not allowed to go, you know, in the modern time, not in the ancient India, but in the modern India. So when I came to Edmonton and met Swami Brahmanishtananda ji, I was so happy because he accepted me as her disciple, and he teaches Brahma Vidya in a very traditional format in Guru Shishya Parampara, and he comes from Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Parampara, you know. So, and then I could fulfill also my yoga dharma. I always wanted to pursue yoga, but you know, in India, when you study, you're good at studies, you're expected to go in a certain way. You know, I did my master's in economics, I worked there as a research analyst. So one could never think about becoming a yoga instructor or studying yoga in so much depth. So after coming to Edmonton, I got that opportunity as well. I went to Kevalya Dham to study yoga. So, you know, I met all my teachers after coming to Canada. So I think this place is really auspicious for me because, you know, I got to meet my teachers after coming here.
What is that when you understand the Shastras and the yoga?
No, for me, yoga and Shastras are all the same. They all come from the same thing. For me, there is no difference between yoga, Vedanta, or any Indian philosophy. At the end, they all convey the same message, but in a different way, though. You know, as if there are different paths to the mountain top. These are all different paths we have, but at the end, they convey the same message.
How is that the Indians living in Canada, or maybe the other continent people who are migrated to Canada, because Canada is almost all the migrants are staying, right? So from different parts of the world, even from the west, maybe from America, there may be a lot of people coming. How do they accept the Indianism in the yoga? Because yogasana is different, exercise are different, the mix of wellness normal exercise mixed with the yoga, like studios. They're all a fashionable thing. But do they really go into that Shastras which you said, which gets unified to yoga? How much percentage of that is happening?
You know, in last few years, I'm seeing the change. When I first moved here in Edmonton and I went for a yoga asana class, I saw they were only doing asanas. There was not even pranayam. And then I thought, no, I want to teach pranayam as well because I have very special love for pranayam practices. So I said, pranayam is also not happening. They are just calling this as yoga, as a complete practice. Other aspects are obviously missed. They're not even doing pranayam. So, but now I see a shift in the population, in the yoga world as well. Now they have started accepting or embracing other aspects of yoga. They have started, incorporating pranayam practices in the classes. Now they have started using the words yamas and niyamas. When I wrote an article on yamas and niyamas in one of the yoga magazine here, I don't think people would have taken that seriously, few years ago. But now, I think after COVID also, people are realizing the importance of other aspects, For them earlier, physical fitness, body was the only thing, But now they are understanding the depths of life. They are going beyond the, day-to-day activities of the life, thinking what is beyond this. So, and very few, still we have a very small percentage who is accepting Indian, culture or that aspect of yoga, the roots of yoga. But slowly, I think we are getting there. In fact, I should say, even like white people or Canadians who are living here, they still have value for Indian culture. But our Indians, that gives me a lot of pain when our Indians don't have so much belief or faith in our system and they are so disconnected with the roots.
When you look at the wellness index in the whole world, India doesn't stand anywhere near, and it is much worse than a country like Pakistan and all that. Is it not that pathetic, and what could be the reason? That is where I want what India needs. Because if people are not happy, if people can't enjoy, even the moments to cherish are very, very less. What is it lacking? Maybe because you have traveled, you have seen different nationals coming to you for learning, and you mix with a lot of people who are coming to you for solutions. What is it lacking? Is it only population is the problem, economy is the problem? We can have a lot of, but we all are proud of our culture, yoga, learning, traditions and everything. What is it lacking?
So when I teach here, I'll be very frank with you, there's not a single Indian in my class. Maybe one or two, but they also don't give so much importance to the fitness or yoga, or even you go to the gym, you will find very few Indians in the gym. Because the concept of health, is not even there. They're so much focused on earning money, getting all the materialistic things, making big houses. Even in Canada, that is the only concern they have. They have moved here to make big houses, getting big cars, and they cannot think beyond that. But again, there's always a mix of population. There are people who think about something more as well, but not a huge number. And I see that trend in India as well. People are they're so busy with their jobs, they don't have time for their own self. So I think that shift has to happen. They need to go back to the roots. That's what I think India needs right now. I can sit here and talk about n number of problems. Okay, we have agriculture problem, poverty, inequality, or sanitation or health problems. But the root cause of everything, what I feel, is that they are disconnected from their roots, and they need to go back to the ancient system. And when I say ancient, it doesn't mean outdated. It means something which is eternal. And in our culture, we call that Sanatana. Sada Nutan Sanatana, which is always new.
So, what India needs is the question. Is it lack of masters? I told you there are a lot of masters. They are also greedy. They are also grabbing. They are also marketing. We know Swamis who have got a marketing department. And they are famous. And therefore, probably, see, I was looking at the way you always disconnect it and then say they. That means the original Indians who are in India has become they for you.
No. Both Indians here and in India.
That's what I'm saying. Because you feel more closer to. That's definitely true. Because if I have somebody who follows me, somebody doesn't follow me, we always feel they and our people, like nothing wrong. That's how Dhritarashtra also said, right? Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. My people and the other people, like that. So that naturally we feel. What can be done? Is it irreparable? Is it only what the politician spreads yoga, therefore international yoga, it has become fashion of the day? And I don't agree with the most of the yoga asanas being done because it's not Indian tradition at all. It is a mix of what happened in the Maharaja's palace. You told that you are in Sai Baba's place. Sai Baba was 18 years old. Swami Bhuva was there. And many great personalities who were in US who spread yoga was there. Swami Vivekananda was a visitor. You can imagine such learned people sitting together in Maharaja's palace. And that is where the gymnastics were mixed with yoga. And the first yoga school started in Bangalore. And it was closed soon after independence. 1950 it got closed. So then probably these people would have migrated to America and then started spreading. So what we see today, yoga is not at all in line with Ashtanga yoga. I don't think many people would have even read Hada Yoga Pradipika. We don't even follow that. But those people who don't read are in the part of influence to government. They are the people who will do, maybe we talk about sports yoga, we talk about curing yogas, and I don't want to name those. There are a lot of controversial yoga. Somebody called themselves as yogi and become most controversial. Police is hunting for them. And they are hiding and putting a lot of videos every day. Is it not shame for, or is it not that what made Indian people also in some way had aversion towards the word yoga and not getting connected?
I think a lot of people in the world are getting averted because of these practices. A lot of Indian teachers have actually brought shame in the West. They have done things which should not have been done. So I think because of that, so many people do not believe in yoga. Not just yoga, in India itself, we have so many people who have brought shame to this word guru. You know, they misuse people, they misguide people. So I think when you ask me what India needs, I think for me, according to me, we need to have the value system back in the society. We need to instill those values from childhood. You know, our school system or the education system should bring those value system back. Right now, our education is job oriented, but we need to teach kids at a very young age what values are, what is the importance of those values. You know, love, compassion, empathy, patience, all those values needs to be incorporated in our lives right from a very young age.
But where is the time for the so-called that value system, the Savidya, when people are actually 80% of the people are not even having sufficient food, they have their own problems, they don't even have schools or colleges even today. Maybe very few, it's only 20% of the people. No, I keep traveling to Northeast We know, even I don't know which exactly is the village. Where are you from, Niru?
We are from Himachal, the Great, Una district.
So which is the nearest airport?
Airport is Shimla, but that is far from our house, so Chandigarh.
That's what I'm
Close to
saying.
Chandigarh.
See, when I used to go to Hamirpur, if I go to that NIT, I will have to go one day early. No guarantee that the day you want you will reach there. And the ghat roads which takes us there, you don't know whether it will take us down. Night we will not be able to drive. I used to go to Arunachal Pradesh. We have seen the problems of real people there. No electricity. Forget about internet connections, Wi-Fi and all that. Right? Nothing. Not even electricity in most of the parts. In that scenario, is it not natural that they want the bread and the basic needs and they aspire for that? Now you come to the richest and the richest people, they always aspire for making higher and higher. Who are the people where we can focus to at least have 1% of India with little bit of value system showing that these are the samples?
We can create teachers for the future. Like, it will take at least 1 or 2 generations, I think more than that, to create such people in the society. See, eventually, who is sitting in the political party? Who is sitting as a manager? Who is there sitting in the chief minister's position? They're all people. So if we give values to the young ones right from today, or at a very young age, at least after few generations, we'll produce good leaders, we'll produce good managers who will think about society. If we have this value that, okay, you need to give back to the society as well, this is the part of your education. Like, when you earn something, you take resources from the society, give it back to the society. When we produce such leaders in future, obviously they are going to think about the people of India. Right now, our leaders or our, businessmen, they're only thinking about themselves. See, it was so shameful that during COVID, government had to, I think, pass the law that corporates have to give 2% of their income as a part of social corporate responsibility, right? For the people, right? So there was no need to pass a law. This should come from within. Because we lack those values, we don't think about others. It's always about me, myself, my family. I want to accumulate or hoard everything for my family, oxygen cylinders. So it will take a lot of time to bring those value systems back. We can have policies for poor people, but it's not reaching them. All the resources are not reaching them. It's only when we do something, we reform something within us, then we can have good leaders in future. Something has to change within each and every one of us. Okay, it's not possible for the 100% population, but at least we can produce some people, future leaders, or people who are concerned about the society.
Just now you mentioned corporate social responsibility project. Almost 1.5 years I was with a rich man on a corporate social responsibility project. Then I realized how the rich people knows everything to turn into business. Even CSR is a big business for them. They know how to manage things around them. And there are good advisors, there are good agents who knows how to make things. Because that attitude is not there. If you don't have I keep saying from then onwards I decided corporate social responsibility is not required. Individual social responsibility. How do you make every individual to have a social responsibility? I don't know how many people read. In my childhood I used to read a lot, but I almost don't have time to read. But today I was little free. I was reading the biography of K.P. Keshav Menon, who was a great statesman from Kerala, who lived in Singapore. He was a great politician. He was also a Padma Bhushan or Padma Vibhushan, I think. The bygone days is the translation in English, which is that I was reading. If you read, Mahatma Gandhi used to give pocket money to KP Keshav Menon. When Gandhi used to get arrested, big crowd used to be there when the verdict comes, and Keshav Menon also stays there. We don't know when he is getting arrested, when he will get released. So while going along with the police, he will turn back and tell Keshav Menon, I have made arrangements for you. That means for your pocket. See, that is the service mentality people have. Correct? When you are in trouble also, you are not thinking about, oh, when I will get released, what will happen in the jail. That is what is social service. It is not that when I have sufficient food, I will give excess food to somebody else.
Yes.
It is that I also don't have, doesn't matter, but shall I give it to somebody else? No. And today that is not seen. That is why government makes a rule of social responsibility, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Because everything is business. The biggest scams happens in the poorest nation like this, where not the biggest people are looted by biggest people. Not the richest is looting the richest. The richest is looting the poor and then become rich. Correct? Do you think we can make some action item to inculcate that 1%? I am not looking for 10%. 1% teachers who carry these values. At least one village, one small place. Film people are not able to make it because there are beautiful movies which shows this. Everybody see that, everybody forgets. That's true with any, right? You've got lot of writers. Nobody even reads it. We have got lot of gurus. They make a lot of vachans and then they get only forwarded. They don't even learn. Where is that? And what can be done? That is why I wanted to know what India needs is understood. You want good teachers who will take this Savidya to people.
Yes.
How do we make it? That's action plan. We are getting almost maybe 60% of the discussions are over now. Maybe at the end, what we look at is the end of August, we want to have some action item. No, maybe some sort of a foundation, some sort of a setup where we can create some people who become messengers, who become samples, where they get dedicated. How do we do that? I know many failures by people who started doing it, they couldn't take it forward. But that doesn't stop us. We always got our own way of looking at it, right? What can be done on the ground?
On the ground, we need some good place, like as you said, every village or at least some villages. I was reading. I got an email from a friend few days ago, and it was mentioned that I think till 1850 there were around 732,000 gurukuls in India, in every village. And they were equivalent to the higher learning institutes. So we have two options. We can either bring those values back into the current education system, how we have in Edmonton. I'll give you my child's example. My son is in grade 4 right now. He is going to grade 5. Right from grade 1, teachers started teaching them the importance of kindness, empathy, patience, love, helping. All these were included in their curriculum. And they spent a lot of time teaching these values. Now, what difference I see in Edmonton or Canada and in India, I always compare both countries because eventually India is my country, so I always think about India. So I saw that these kids, when they grow up, they are better citizens of the society. They follow rules because that's what they are told. That's what they are taught right from the childhood, and they don't break rules. Like our country, they will break rules. They will do everything to surpass all the laws. So they are law-abiding citizens. They have so much pride in their country. So we need to incorporate that same kind of pride for the country, for the society, and we need to teach them that you owe something back to the society right from the childhood. I'm saying this over and over again because I feel that this is the only solution. I see kids here and in India. In India, kids are in the center. They are disconnected from their roots. They're following Western culture. They are in the center. They're nowhere right now, especially kids from big cities. I've seen them. No pride in their mother tongue, their motherland, or mother. They need to give respect to these three things: mother, motherland, and mother tongue. They have no respect for their mother tongue. They are aping the West, and they don't have any roots left. So we need to teach them how to take pride in their culture, teach them the history of India, and we have to tell them how advanced our Indians were in the history. And also what is the importance of values. Why it is important to bring harmony in head, heart, and hands. If your knowledge is not effective, education is not effective if it doesn't turn into character. Commerce is useless if there is no morality. Science is useless if there is no humanity. Religion is useless if there is no love. Actually, it's not useless, it's dangerous. And that's what we are standing at. We are standing at at a stage which is very dangerous. We are nowhere. So this is one way. Another way is, yes, we can have institutes or schools in villages or in small towns which are focused on learning, the overall learning, making good human being. How many of a lot of parents, they tell their kids to become engineer or doctors, but they don't tell their kids to become a good human being. So at least we should have places which tell people to become good human being, and then doctor, engineer, or other things are different that they can become. So I will say that over and over again, we need to build those places which teaches values. And I know a few places like Satya Sai Center of Higher Learning who focus a lot on human values. And I've seen the students coming out of that institute. I've seen how much they serve in the society. They don't take selfies, but they are taken to villages to do Gram Seva. That's what we need, overall education. When I saw what they were teaching in the ancient Gurukuls, or Gurukuls till 1850s, were 50 different types of education. Like I have written the names, like they taught them Agni Vidya, Vayu Vidya, Dhatu Urja Vidya, which is battery energy, Srishti Vidya, which is space research, astronomy, genes and metals, forestry, horticulture, weaving, painting. So they made them capable of doing anything if they need to. And they also taught them values at the same time.
I loved that 3H principle, which I also keep saying: head, heart, and handwork. If you are not able to do some craft, some art, yesterday or today I posted what I was doing in Columbus, Indiana. When I was doing the camp for children, I was showing them how to make craft, the flowers out of and I was asking them same question, the mother tongue which you are telling. Throughout India, many people from different states settle in America. All of them keep saying that my daughter, my son don't know the mother tongue. That's true with most of the people who stay away from the one state to the cities. They are not in your hometown. They also say that, we lost connection. July 25th, 2019, I was covered by Tribune. During the program camp, in the temple construction was happening, I was running the camp in the church. 2 days early, I got the notice that somebody is coming. I told every children, you have 2 days. And the 2 days I will ask you to write your name, your parents' name, if I am from Kerala, Malayalam, I should write in my mother tongue. At least few words. Where all the parents told that my children don't know how to write. In 2 days, I am not able to teach Gujarati, Bangla, Telugu, Kannada, every language to their children. In 2 days, everybody taught their children how to write in mother tongue. which they were telling they were not able to do it in 9 years. So, I'll tell you, it is not that children are useless, but the commitment, the so called parents who feel telling that no, I'll care my children, but actually, even the parents are bogus. They are not having time for their children. They don't really care. They don't, because they don't value the tradition, the mother tongue which they learned. I learned mother tongue. But my son who studied in Hyderabad, kept away from Kerala, both of them read and write Malayalam without having any academic education in the classrooms. Right? I went to Dubai once, and then one Tamil family, one girl, two girls came and then said, "Sir, what should I study for 11th and 12th after my 10th class?" I said, "Where are you from?" Tamil Nadu. I took a paper and pen and said, "Write your name in Tamil." She said, "I don't know." You said, "You can talk to me only after learning this. No career guidance for you, no suggestion, no counseling, nothing unless you learn how to write in Tamil. You come back to me after 3 days or 4 days, I don't care. I'm here for a week." They never came back. I'm sure the parents are very, 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 very important. They, even if you say value system, they will tell you, we know what is value system. Who are you to come and teach us, right?
No, I'll tell you something. You know, when I first took my son to the school here, when he started his kindergarten, one thing which his teacher told me was continue speaking in your mother tongue at home. Can you imagine? A foreigner is telling me that you continue to speak your mother tongue at home. Teach him your mother tongue and your culture. And you won't believe, here at school, they have presentations regarding their country, you know, about their clothing, festivals, food, and, you know, kids take so much pride in doing those presentations that we belong to this culture, we have these roots, you know. But in India, I studied in Mumbai, and in my college, very few people knew their mother tongue. The only language used in our college was English.
No, it is basically because
Sydenham College. So this is the plight, and people think that they are cool when they ape Western culture. They are cool when they speak in English. They think this is, you know, they will not be called cool or modern if they don't speak English, if they don't ape Western culture. And the best example is Sudha Murthy of Infosys. I was listening to her interview long time back, and she said she was traveling to a different country in a sari, going through a business class, and the lady in front of her, looking at her attire, told her that this is business class, not economy class. So this is the attitude, and she thought she won't be able to, you know, she doesn't know how to speak English, or she belongs to a lower middle class. So this is the attitude we have. And here also in Canada itself, I see a lot of like Punjabi people, South Indian people, they still teach their kids how to speak in their mother tongue. But I'm very sorry, I'm a North Indian, but a lot of North Indian population in Edmonton or in Canada, they don't speak their mother tongue. You go out, when you meet them also, they will talk to you in English. They will never take pride in their own language like other countries. That's what I feel, you know. Whenever I go, I feel really sad about it.
no, is it not? No, when you give an assignment or somebody comes, assume that now I am running Bhagavad Gita class. August 1st, hardly we see very interested students. They think that, yeah, I know, I should I learn. One. Second one, they don't have time. They become so busy, you know. When I asked, sending a message, you study only two verses. First verse and the last verse. You know who responded first? A sannyasin from Brazil who became a student.
Atta pratamo yayaha Arjuna Vishoda Yoga Drita Rashtra.
How difficult it is for her to pronounce, but still the class was on Sunday. Monday I got the response. I'll tell you, there are great people, they don't respond. I message to almost 1,000 people. The message comes, I keep responding. Here, that everybody asks when is the last date. They don't ask when is the first date. When they can do it, no. I'll tell you, that is lacking. That is it because that we are flooded with a lot of so busy? No, we have not taught them discipline. It's all become not a learner. The discipline is what is to be learned. That is not there. So we sometimes feel desperate to see somebody who is interested in doing things at the right time. Somebody who shows real interest. Somebody comes back when you ask something. Somebody reads it at least, Somebody forwards. The sharing is assume that I am into education. So my job is only educating probably. So I always look at somebody shares it to somebody else and then see, Neeru came to me because Dr. Anand, right? When I called him, immediately he referred to 5 people and then said, these are the people you should call them. We hardly see somebody like that. We have to keep on asking, Send a message, look at them, a reference. Very rare, very rarely we see somebody like that. Is it not that, the social responsibility being social, sharing what we have, not in terms of eating or maybe in terms of money, the knowledge, the concern, the culture, the spirit. What is happening? What is to be done for this?
Like I interact with people, kids from Bal Vihar program of Chinmay Mission. We have Chinmay Mission Bal Vihar program here as well, also in US. So, we need to have such programs. We need to have parenting programs. 3 people are very important, Guru, our teacher, student, and parents. Without the support of parent also, nothing is possible. Because we need some dedicated parents as well. Here when we ask people about, their kids, do you want to register your kids? Some people don't even take interest. They don't have time for all these things because this is useless. All they want their kids is to get degree and, get a good job. So we need to shift that focus. We need to tell these parents that, you need to have a child with all the human qualities also. Tomorrow, if your child has stress or anxiety, these degrees won't help him. He need to have those life-saving skills, and these are life-saving skills. All these values are life-saving skills. These are going to help them in future, not the degrees. Looking at the challenges of the modern world, we need to tell the parents as well that, what is the importance of these values or this education. I think Bhagavad Gita should be learned by everyone. Each and every person, if they want to see how to lead life, then they should read Bhagavad Gita. I was telling that the same thing to one of my friends, that if you have any problem, I refer them to Bhagavad Gita. Go read Bhagavad Gita or read under somebody, study under somebody, because you cannot understand everything by reading on your own.
Yesterday we had Ananda Krishnan. He ran away from his engineering in Latur, and then he was in a small hut in Hyderabad, where those days you could even pledge your watches and take 100 rupees. Next month when the father sends money order, he will take it back. That's how he was living. One day my servant maid told there is one boy who looks like a Keralite in a small hut. He is not coming out for last 2 days. Probably something wrong with him. I went and then saw he was having hay fever. And got his background, took him to my house. I made him to stay in my house, fed him, took care of him. That relationship is what probably still he holds with me. It's not that I did it with expecting something. No. I told him, keep apart, you discontinued your graduation, but you register for your passion. That time his passion was journalism. So my cousin was heading Times of India in Hyderabad. I referred to somebody and he got a job. He said, I cannot give him in Times of India, but evening paper I can make some references. So that's how he started in Indian Express, Deccan Chronicle. That time editor of Deccan Chronicle happened to be one of my friend who was a Keralite. Jumped and he made himself a great. I'm still seeing that humanness in him, probably where he got it, he has experienced it. How do we make sure that these messages are taken to the next generation to see that it goes, not classes? Probably Bhagavad Gita won't be understood unless today when I was reading, K.P. Keshav Menon ends his text with the Bhagavad Gita quote only. The last, I was just reading it, so fearlessness, purity of the heart, practice of charity, etc., etc. Let the above Bhagavad Gita verses enlighten me in every stage of my life. That's what he writes when he was almost at the deathbed. See, that time also he realizes the value of it. Probably that value he could get it because in childhood he learned it. But how do we share this experience of life? See, which I have done 30 years back.
I have answered from my experience.
Yeah.
Yes. I feel that teacher-student relationship is very important. When you are in touch with your teacher and the teachings continuously, every single day, then you are connected with those values. Whenever I have any doubt, I call my teacher. I call either Swamiji, or the other day I was stuck with something. I called Dr. Ananda Balyogi, and he immediately replied to me. He saved me. I felt that I have my back. He has my back. So he was there. The other teacher, I have another teacher who is always there for me. So whenever in doubt, I have somebody, who is there for me. I call that person and then I clear my doubts. So that we need to have that kind of teacher-student relationship. We need some good teachers, along with students, we need some good teachers as well. The other day, one Pandit ji from this temple here in Edmonton, he was telling me that in earlier days, parents used to analyze the child. Not like today that they don't have time for their children. They used to analyze, they used to see what qualities my child has. Then they would take the child to that kind of guru. Then guru will test that kid or that child and see what are his limitations, and then accordingly put him in a certain program or teach him certain program. So that was the kind of relation and system we had. When I say going back to the roots, the roots, it is the same roots we need, that same education system, that same teacher-student relationship, same parenting system. Now parents are busy with their jobs. Money is everything for them. Even I can understand if you have some limitation, financial, limitation, you need to work, but not at the cost of your child. If you're earning well, your house is running well, you have certain dharma to do as a parent as well. That dharma part again comes here. You have some dharma as a householder, you have certain dharma as a wife, as a mother, and nowadays everybody is fighting for their rights. But, nobody is following their dharma. So, as a parent, as a teacher, as a student, we all have certain dharma, and we need to go back to that same ancient system where everybody knows what they are supposed to do.
I remember my guru used to tell, when I walk on the mud, dusty path, what dust goes behind my footwear, that value only I have for material life. That's how he lived also. He was probably could have become rich man, but it is not that richness. It is that value which he carried. I remember wherever I traveled, whenever I go, the other day I went to Tiruvannamala. Everybody was introducing, and Swamiji, who was running the ashram, was telling he is Maharishi Mahayogi's disciple. So immediately I said, my Guru Brahmashri KPC Anijan Bhattadiripada happened to be Maharishi's, Mahayogi's teacher for a year, I said. And I am the only one disciple who traveled with him, who served him. So immediately that Swamiji stood up and then came to me and was hugging me, saying that no. So I was so fortunate to see him in America when he was serving his Guru. So sometimes that connectedness, that's what I was telling when Neeru said that Guru Shishya Parampara is what is required, and that's lacking. Most of the, we are only forwarding messages, that's what is. And we wanted to show, assume that when Neeru says, I am only talking about my Guru, but I am also listening from whom you have learned. But tomorrow if you ask me, I'll tell you who was your connections. And that's why I'm sure Balayogi is referring you, right? Otherwise Balayogi will not refer your name. So that connectedness is what is lacking. So I'm sure I can go on and on. I can't stop. But generally by 8 o'clock I stop. I crossed 6 minutes more. It's 45 minutes. I want others, if they could ask some questions and some discussions, if you like to have with Neeru. Yes, I am sure Neeru will be open to.
Yes, if I
Discuss,
can,
yeah.
I will.
It's not question and answer. It's like discussions. We are sharing our thoughts and concerns. We are
I
reflecting.
see some youngsters there, so they can ask, I know your challenges in when I talk about values and, teacher-student relationship, it sounds very impossible. My 12th standard teacher is still in touch with me, Neshwari ma'am, and she told me, Neeru, we don't get students like you anymore. We had so much connection, you had so much respect for teachers, but nowadays we don't get that kind of respect.
But Neeru, when people come to my house and stay with me in the camp, I show them how I am connected to my teachers. But they come, stay, do fun, eat, go. But that connected, that learning from the experience also.
From a very young age. We need to change something from a young age. And this will take few generations, I'm sure. And we, along with kids, we need to have parenting classes as well, for these new parents. So two things are very important.
Now, I'm not saying that there are nobody. I have got wonderful connections with some of them. They keep updates. They keep opening up. They keep discussing. They keep sharing. They also do assignments. They also tell me where I am wrong. They also correct me. They also help me. They take extra mile and then tell me that this is how it should be done. Sometimes I may not listen to them also. That's, because we need an extra effort to listen to somebody else. That also happens. There are few. I'm not saying it's not.
There are some very good teachers, I'm telling you. I've met Dr. TPS, I've met Dr. Ananda, I have another teacher, Sudhir Tiwari. So I'm very lucky to have some very good teachers in my life as well, So
Anybody who wanted to respond. I have got Anusha from USA. She continuously follows me for every day, almost every day, like 10 years. She just left. She is working, so must be in the office call now. Asha is there. Vaishnavi is there. Vignesh and me knows only for last. Vaishnavi know me for so many years, but disconnected. But last 2 months, Vaishnavi got connected back. Shivam.
It was because of Falcon, sir. I think you might know him.
Yeah, I know Falcon.
Yeah, he sent me the links again, and that's how I got connected.
Yeah. And
Actually,
Shivam Raju, are you in connection with me? Are you on WhatsApp with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You just send a message again so that I know. Yeah. Shivam Raju, that name I don't have. I don't think. You are in that same
Okay.
now? Some other name.
I'm Shivam Rajavali. The name is same, but maybe it's not saved in your phone.
Yeah. Just send a message so that I know. I keep on asking, but that doesn't happen most of the time. They are very busy. That's a problem. Yeah, ask some questions. You have a chance to discuss with someone who has.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, so I wanted to ask that why are things associated with India seeming so uncool? Like I did my studies outside India. I'm in 12th right now. I just passed 12th. So I wanted to know why, because like during the recess, if someone brings an Indian food, like I'm from North India, so I'll bring paranta or sometimes sambar or idli. it's not considered cool, or it's like people say why you're bringing Indian food, or if you're talking in your native language in India, even though you're outside India, it's seemingly uncool. I want to know why is it like graded uncool?
because
What do you-
because we don't take pride in our culture. We have gone through years and years of slavery, and our mindset have become like that. We still think we are inferior to others. That is the only thing. I tell my son, over and over again, because he is going to grow up here. I tell him, if you don't take pride in your culture, your language, your food, nobody is going to, respect you. They will bully you if you allow yourself to get bullied. So even if you take pride in your culture, everything related to your culture, I'm 100% sure nobody can disrespect you. Nobody has disrespected me for all these years, because I don't allow them to do that. So we need to give them those values. We need to teach our kids that you allow people to bully you. Not they have their own mindset. They have their own perception. Yeah.
I'll tell you, during the Indiana camp, because my best experience is only that. I used to have at least 4 or 5 volunteers who are from different parts of India. All of them bring their tiffin boxes with the different items. We all share together and eat at the lunch. And the priest of that church, Nick, used to taste every Indian food and then enjoy so much. And he used to say, today night I will try this at home. Ask my wife to cook. He was so happy, You can see some of those pictures on my camp, Columbus camp. I'll tell you, we are not selling ourselves. We are not propagating ourselves. We are not telling what we have good things.
And also, there are so many Indian restaurants here in Canada, and you will see a lot of white population there. They're crazy for Indian food because they don't know how to cook. They're just, they're not eating what, they're missing a lot of things, right? But they're crazy for samosas. Now samosas sell in every store, every grocery store, white or black or Indian or Western, whatever. Like, people are admiring our culture and our food. You know why yoga became so popular in India? Swami Ramdev is one reason. But because a lot of Westerners are coming to India to learn yoga, that's why yoga became popular in Indians as well. We try to ape Westerners, and unfortunately, what they brought a distorted version of yoga with them to India as well, and now youngsters are following that distorted version as well. So, this is how it works. When a Westerner appreciates our culture, we feel proud. But we don't feel proud, from within ourselves. We need to change something within.
This was actually a question that my friend wanted to ask Krishna. She had to leave because of some other work. Just now you mentioned about the distorted yoga that has been there. So few people, they usually consider yoga to be a Hindu practice, and so people from the other religions, they try to change it. There are a few mantras and prana and all these words, they change it and they just refer to it by breathing, and they don't usually say the mantras, and also there won't be the full impact of yoga that they're doing it. So how can we change that?
Okay, so I think yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a post on Facebook group in Yoga Teachers that one of the yoga teacher who taught Christian yoga, which is a new thing, said Amen at the end. I posted, I normally don't comment, but I said, this is the problem when you confuse religion with spirituality, when you don't know the difference between religion and spirituality. And also this term Hindu, I think it's time to change this term and make it Sanatan Dharam, because yoga belongs to Sanatan Dharam. It teaches us how to live, code of conduct, discipline, how a man should conduct in the society, the yamas, niyamas. We have so many different aspects of yoga. So I think teachers from India and also who are outside of India, trained in India, they need to spread this message more and more. We ourselves are not clear about yoga or other practices. That is the only problem. We don't teach Surya Namaskar at school. We think sun belongs to Hindu religion. That is the problem. And it's not like that. I teach Muslim people. I teach Muslim association here. I don't do Om with them because I respect their, perspective also. They think it is related to religion. I can slowly explain them, but I tell them, okay, the sounds of Om has M, which is same as Amin. It has the same sound. You can always explain them slowly once they start trusting you. So I don't think that would be a problem in future if you teach them the reason behind it.
Yeah. Anusha is there who follows me thoroughly. She's back.
Namaste.
Yeah, you have anything to ask or anything to comment? You are hearing the tradition following. She reads, understands, learns, asks questions. Now I have got a big task she has given, but I couldn't complete it. She asked me to describe some Shankaracharya scriptures. So there is a requirement. This I want, Ask me to write poetry, and that's how I write my poems. Give assignments.
I also write poems in Hindi though. I write poems which is based on purpose of life or,
Whatever I did in Columbus or whatever I did in Nanam, everything is triggered or initiated. When we were in Hyderabad, gathered a lot of people, and then one program which was made by Anusha was 1,200 BTech students were gathered together with 100 rupees payment. Nearly 10 years back. So it was, and the title was Creativity to the Power of Infinity. Her intention was to take my message to that many number of people. Probably the largest gathering by payment. Otherwise I had 6,000 also at a stretch, but without a payment. And she paid me for half day 1 lakh rupees. It was almost 11 years back. We used to have a lot of different crazy satsangs.
I think we need to have more satsang to
we need somebody who triggers it. It depends on somebody's requirement. If that requirement has not come from one person, why do you do it? Feels like I am doing Bhagavad Gita not because I want it. In one of the interfaith meeting, Dilip ji said, we need Bhagavad Gita, Dr. TPS will teach. It was like, it's a chance given.
But don't you think the world is evolving? I see a lot of change in the world. People are evolving. They are taking interest in these things now.
It is, but what happens is when they go behind advertisements, they go behind sometimes, see, people started using soap, but the question is which soap they are using, right? We see a lot of people propagating messages from somebody by WhatsApp. That doesn't mean they understand it, There may be 1,000 people who are chanting. There may be 1,000 people who are listening to some music. But do they understand music is the question. Learning is different. Listening is different. It's all some passion which they don't understand. The real essence, if they understand, it could be, maybe I may be wrong. But the way I looked at it is, I understand the core. Maybe I transfer to somebody else. When my guru left, I had got somebody else who used to send me his chantings. Immediately I told him, let me have that, give me your picture. I am going to post them, and Vishnu Sahasranamam teachings I posted. It's almost 3 hours of job for me because there used to be some disturbance. I cut them, edit them, put them. I was listening to that plenty of times forcefully so that I will post that on YouTube. So that gives me another learning on Vishnu Sahasranamam. It is not that I have not learned, I have not taught. But there is somebody else who teaches me from higher for one nama for a day, 1 hour. I thought it's a great learning because in my life I will not be able to do that. So still we invest time on learning. Every action you do for somebody else is also a learning for you, That dedication is what is lacking, I am saying. It is not that you hear, pass it, or you may ignore it, you may laugh at it, you may find fault with that. See, the temperament is that, See, I keep asking my students, please post one comment there. That is because I get some comments which says, maybe people look at it at a different angle and then start commenting. So the day you got up, you got only 3 negative comments, you feel upset. Why should I do this? That sort of a feeling comes.
But
So-
you do your dharma, right? And
No,
I
but-
feel that eventually it's the evolution of a person. Like at the end of the day, it's how
Neeru, it's all good to say. I have also seen Yeti was my guru. Yeti was, as a guru also, he had lot of question to himself. You don't push on the door for more, no. You need to know where it is to be done. That is why somebody lives. That's why I said, sometimes I feel, yeah, one experience which I had in West was wonderful, I'm saying. Because they appreciate, they look at it, they comment, they learn, they read, they ask questions. No questions. Communication is not there. It's only you hear, yeah, you tell if you want. Questions are not there. We were not like that. When I was a student, even when I was doing MSc, I never left my teachers free. I go behind them, I go to their house, I go to their hostel, I ask them, they come to my hostel and then speak to me, give answers. We go behind them.
I think part of the problem is because everything is so readily available nowadays. Information is available on Google or everywhere that we don't have value for it anymore.
But then question should come. No, see, when you get a lot of things, the question should be more and more. I don't think it's Anusha is coming because you don't know how to look at interpretations. But the reflections are different, right? No, I'm saying that I'm blessed with at least a few who had questions. They also ask questions, they also appreciate, they at least say ha, no. That is, see, now when I am saying you are nodding, that is also not there. It's like a Chinese face.
That's what Swamiji says, he says when you nod your head, that means you have understood. That gives me a signal that okay, I can proceed now.
See, why did he say that? Is it because he was a Sthiraprajna, he doesn't want somebody, he can also speak to cameras? See, you know how many times you have to tell at least to switch on your cameras? They don't even do that. I have to scold, I have to beg, I have to bribe, so that they will at least know. When you come, they don't even, that communication is also lacking. It is not that they don't know, they do it. But do it if you are a person who are giving certificate, you are a teacher, yes, they will say good morning, sir. You understood? Why should I bother this fellow? No, that is, I am not talking about those people who I am saying generally that is the Indianism, that is where we are lacking, I am saying. Attitude setting. That to change, is it from the childhood? Probably I also have. Whatever I have learned, but I keep trying. Yeah, will I be able to do that? See, is it not that I cannot speak what India needs? I am talking to different people, understanding what their views. Right? Even to my own student, like Anandakrishnan, I am talking to them. Why should I ask him? I may agree, I may not agree, that's a different matter. But still I listen to their views. Not that online, offline also we speak. Today I have spent nearly 1.5 hours on somebody who was my brother's friend. We have spent a lot of time. The other day we had a big discussion. After that we had another 1 hour discussion. We don't see them concerned about the questions. It has become only emotional sharing. That head is not there or heart is not there. Some people have only head. What course I do? Some people have only heart. That doesn't work. That's what I want, the concern sharing which we had. That's only the whole idea of what India needs is to share the concern. No? There is somebody who is asking me to meet on a Google Meet or talk for some time. Also shown that some interest. I said join one of these Google Meet, then I will tell you a date. It's almost a month. No, they want private time. I said yes, but after this. Let me see whether you have some social commitment. Otherwise, why should I help you? No? That social commitment, that feeling, how do we inculcate? That is what probably we need. That nodding the head at least. So that you have a head which can be put at least sometime down, right? Not like this, always. Sometime down and up. That's good. If they don't speak. Yeah, Shivam Raju, I am searching. I searched a lot. Your name is not seen. So maybe some other name, or Maybe, I don't know whether, when did you send me a WhatsApp last, beta?
I sent right now also. 1 minute ago, I think.
No, before this. No, I did not get. You are sending to somebody else then. I am Dr. TPS, if you are not mistaken. My number is 9447437948.
Yes, sir.
No, I didn't get. Yeah, Shivam Raju. Your mother's name is there, not your name with me. Your mother was in contact. Meenakshi Raju was in contact. Sanvi was in contact. Sanvi attended my Moksha camp. But then you didn't send a message that you are Shivam so far in this number which I have. Did you?
No, sir.
That's what I'm saying. So how do I recognize this is the person on whose number? That's why I keep saying when you attend, send a message. I keep saying, but no. Yeah. Communication. That's what I'm saying. That's what is lacking. So I'm taking that example. I am able to communicate because I have a lot of concern, lot of questions. She is able to communicate because she has got. All of us should have that sharing. I said it's a satsang. I am keep on talking because none of you are. If somebody raises hand, I will stop. But I am waiting for that opportunity. Very rarely I see.
I think that.
Yeah.
Alisha.
Yeah, one comment that I wanted to make is like, so as she said, like the importance of Guru in one's life. So since I have so much of experience with Dr. TPS, so one thing what I can say is like, so yeah, value system actually is inculcated at the root level by your parents. Then it takes a lot to sustain actually. So what happened in my case was like my parents were like very strict, and my father always gives importance to discipline and values and all that. But then as I entered teenage, everything has vanished, and I was like, teenage is such an age where you don't listen to your parents. So that's what happened even to me. So I started revolting against my parents, and I never used to listen to them. But then that is another time when like Dr. TPS entered into my life, and then like then I understood like so when he said the importance of knowledge and the importance of education. So that's when again I have molded myself. I understood like okay, so knowledge is really key to your success, and that's what takes you forward. So that's what the message I have got through his first session. And since then, like I have asked him, like if I could become a student, and I got an immediate response saying that I'm always welcome. So that's when I decided, okay, let me follow him and see where it takes me. And now I'm here. It's really like a very rewarding journey, and I have throughout this journey I have learned a lot. I have molded myself into someone whom even my parents and my peer group, everybody is proud of. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank him.
You know, I'm a mother of a young child you said that correctly. That's what we had a concern about our children here, you know. Two of us asked Swamiji, how should we make sure that, you know, the kids will grow up with values and they'll follow whatever we are teaching them. So he said, you know what, just keep on teaching them. That's your duty to teach, sow the seed, and then it's up to them if they want to keep it with them or not. And this is my experience. My dad was very disciplined, being the Navy personnel, right? So we used to reach railway station 3 hours before the train, 2 to 3 hours every time, and we would never understand why he makes us sit there. But you know what? That helps us. When I started working, I was punctual. I always reached my work before time. And that became a nuisance when I came here. I used to reach my yoga class 45 minutes before the class. Then I said, no, I have to do something about it and reach only 15 to 20 minutes before the class. So that stays with us. Even I recorded as a teacher. I did not follow whatever I learned in my childhood for some time, but then I went back to it. You know, it stays with us forever. It never goes away.
I have the same experience, but not with my father, but with Dr. TPS. So what he does is like, even if train is at 4 a.m., he always takes me at 2 or 1 a.m. to the railway station and makes me sit there.
Yes. So, that's how parents play such a big role. We need good parents, not who are busy working all the time. They don't have time for the kids. All they want is money. Money is important, but not at the cost of our kids.
Yeah, I think it was a good discussion. Anyway, it was good for me. I sometimes feel what is that path really required. It is not that I am not happy what I am doing, but I am not satisfied. I am happy in what I am doing, but I am not satisfied. I always think that there is a scope for improvement, and I hunt for such opportunities. But then, on the ground, yes, I worked with CSR. I had great gurus. I am from Himalayan tradition. Getting such an opportunity is rare. I have got few students like Anusha, who see, it's not once in a while you say tata bye bye, look at it, and you show that what you are. No, what you can learn is what is being shown, right? I have went with many people to learn many things around. I used to go around them, stay with them, talk to them. When they go for travel, I go around. And that is the tradition which you were telling. So I thought, yes, I have to grab that and then get some light, right? So it was
When we
actually.
have these traditions, these teachings, they work as an anchor in our life, They don't let us fall. They are always there with us as a support system. One of my friend who has a very good job, but whenever she gets into problem, she doesn't know what to do because she doesn't have that anchoring. And then she realized that is so important. You can earn money, you can do whatever, but at the end, when you are stressed, when you are distressed, then what to do? You have to have something to look forward to. You have something to support you. So that anchoring is very important.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I learned so much from
Today I
you
got
today.
lot of messages. I don't know why people are not able to join. Even Anusha
Yes,
was
even-
mentioning that she is not able to join. But same link, Anusha could join after some time. Just now Ravi was mentioning that he was not able to join and then send a screen. I was also sending that same link what he tried. I tried and then showed him that yes, I am again able to join on my mobile. There is nothing wrong. Maybe. We don't know.
Some of my friends are also not able to join
Yeah.
the Facebook link which you had shared.
Yeah.
When I clicked, it said code needed for that. Something was showing up.
Yeah, but here it was, Anusha said no, but again she could join. So there is some hitch. I think otherwise generally we used to have 20 people average. Some may join slightly late, but still by 7:30 we used to have 10-20 people. So today, but that was nice. So we could have, satsang is always good with, I used to have only one-to-one, maybe hours together. Some people talk to me hours together only on one-to-one. But not blah blah blah, but some questions and answers. Good. Thank you. I know that it's early morning for you and then it's so kind of you. Some very good points on what India needs. Namaskaram
Thank you
to
so much.
you and then thank you all of you for joining. Don't take it individually. I was only mentioning a generic statement. If you are good, you don't feel it. If you are not good, probably you will feel, oh, it's on me. And that's also good. Right? Both ways it is good.
And when I said they, that means everyone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now Ravi could join. With all troubles, Ravi could join with the same link. Ravi, we are closing now. Ravi is a very senior professor. He was a principal when I was a guest faculty there. I am much more junior to him. And he retired as a principal of an engineering college where I used to go and teach in Maharashtra. We are just closing, Ravi ji.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Rest of the credit.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was some hitch. Some people had this problem for joining today unnecessarily. So thank you all. Goodbye. Take care of you.
Thank you once again, sir.
Yeah.
Dhanyawad, Guruji.
Thank you, Neeru. Keep in touch. Maybe we will
Thank you
have
so much,
some
yes.
common actions to be taken up when the action item comes, we will look forward for
Yes.
that. Yeah.
And